There's nothing more to believe in. Now, you want to blow this whole thing wide open? God knows what it might do to everybody.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the moments in history that inspired the most fringe beliefs and off-the-wall explanations.
It's almost spiritual. There's a lot of research to be done. There's not just Roswell, there's lots of UFO events. There's, lots of witnesses that you can make your own decision on. This is just one event.
Number 10, sinking of the Titanic. Possibly the most famous marine disaster in history, the sinking of this luxurious ship has sparked many bizarre theories over the years. Some believe that the Titanic was intentionally sunk by either J.P. Morgan or the Rothschilds using explosives. Their motivation was supposedly to kill off rich people who opposed the establishment of the Federal Reserve.
Over 50, mostly first-class passengers, cancelled their passages on the Titanic at the last minute. Many of them close friends and business associates of J.P. Morgan.
Others say it was actually Titanic's sister ship, the Olympic, that sank, but the owners claimed it was the Titanic to cash in on an insurance scam. Still others, including the Washington Post, have suggested that a mummy's curse caused the ship to sink. None of these ideas have stood up to scrutiny.
There were 20 boats floating nearby, and only one came back. One.
Number 9, disappearance of Malaysia Airlines Flight 370.
The aircraft was continuing to signal a request for service, not for minutes up to the loss, but for over 7 hours after it had disappeared from the radar system.
In 2014, this plane vanished with 239 people on board while on its way from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing. Theorists have blamed different governments and intelligence agencies, including China, Russia, and the US, for hijacking the plane to get their hands on valuable cargo or bring supposed Chinese hackers to justice.
It's like the criminalization of aircraft accidents. It detracts from aviation safety overall.
And it's a noise that you don't need when you are dealing with families of victims.
Absolutely, and that's part of the problem.
Others have suggested that the disappearance was part of a terrorist attack that was covered up. More outlandish ideas include alien abduction or the plane being hidden in remote locations like the Taklamakan Desert or even North Korea. The lack of evidence and real answers has turned Flight MH370 into a hotbed of speculation.
What kind of catastrophe could shut down the plane's communications but still have allowed it to fly?
Anybody that chooses to hang their hat on one scenario or the other, in my view, is heading for a fall.
Number 8, the AIDS crisis.
Paranoia was running rampant. The media was doing a sensationalist number. People were running scared, including many health professionals.
When this devastating disease turned into an epidemic in the 1980s, theories about its origins immediately took off. A shocking number of people believed that it was created in a lab in order to reduce or eliminate members of marginalized groups, including Black, Latino, or gay communities.
The first thing that goes through my mind is, you should not be positive, and young men should not be leaving this planet with AIDS, with this disease.
Others thought it was intended as a means of broader population control. The KGB spread propaganda claiming that the U.S. created AIDS as a bioweapon.
At the time, many leaders were accused of ignoring the crisis because it was deemed a gay disease. President Reagan didn't give his first major speech on AIDS until 1987, 6 years after the first diagnosed case.
Many people still believe that HIV doesn't cause AIDS, with some arguing that vaccines are the real cause. If all of this sounds familiar, it's probably because many of these exact conspiracy theories have sprung up around COVID-19. Sometimes a comforting lie is easier to face than a scary truth.
The pandemic has galvanized an army of conspiracy theorists, from anti-vaxxers to anarchists, the far left to the far right, New Agers to religious hardliners, and everything in between.
Number 7, death of Marilyn Monroe.
There was no declaration of a crime scene. There was no preservation of all of the evidence within the residence.
The famously troubled star had a history of substance use disorder. and her death in 1962 was caused by an overdose. That didn't stop people from spreading rumors that she'd actually been murdered, or at least that her real cause of death was covered up. It was believed that she'd had an affair with one or both of the Kennedy brothers, and that one of them or the CIA had had her killed.
According to the forensic people who I have talked with, they said that those injection marks should have shown up somewhere.
Some propose that she died as a result of medical malpractice and that her own doctors have covered it up. Sudden celebrity deaths always seem to fuel conspiracy theories.
I hate to be really speculative here, but you can't get too far in the landscape of this case without running into the name Kennedy. And I think there's absolutely no doubt at all that the Kennedy brothers were having sexual relations with Marilyn Monroe.
When Princess Diana died in a car crash, there was immediate speculation that she'd been murdered by MI6 or even by Prince Charles.
Elle dit, on m'a prévenu. On veut me faire assassiner dans un accident de voiture.
Number 6. The Pyramids.
While flying above the Giza Plateau, a British Air Force pilot photographs one of the most amazing features of the Great Pyramid. The structure actually has 8 sides instead of 4.
Thanks to the so-called History Channel, you've probably heard the theory that various ancient civilizations were visited by aliens and that they helped the Egyptians build the pyramids. But that's just one fringe hypothesis connected to these incredible structures. Some people have claimed that the Egyptians must have had access to some advanced technology, possibly provided by a lost civilization like Atlantis.
In the Great Pyramid, the blocks of the burial chamber fit precisely. The sides of these blocks had to be almost perfectly flat to make these astonishing joins.
The really out there theories say that they used magic to build the pyramids. Proponents of pseudoscience have also latched on to these monuments, claiming that they have special cosmological or numerical significance, or even that they harness energy or cosmic vibrations.
You have a civilization that's around for about 2,000 years, yet they only spent about 300 to 400 years designing these magnificent structures. So among the many mysteries surrounding the pyramids, one important question is, why did they stop being built?
Number 5. Hitler's death.
There had to be a Hitler legacy. If Hitler wasn't going to survive the war, he needed to sort of martyr himself for the Nazi cause.
On April 30th, 1945, when it became clear that the Allies were going to win the war and the downfall of Nazi Germany was inevitable, Hitler and his wife, Eva Braun, took their own lives. But rumors immediately began swirling that he was still alive, thanks in part to the Soviet Union. In June of 1945, Joseph Stalin ordered his military leaders to spread the claim that Hitler had actually escaped Germany alive.
When Stauffenberg returns, when he gives me confirmation that Hitler is dead, then we'll proceed.
Some said he was living in South America or Europe, or even a secret Nazi base in Antarctica. Then there are those who said that he died long before the war ended, and Nazi leaders replaced him with a body double.
Mein Führer, ich flehe Sie an, verlassen Sie Berlin. Mein Führer, bitte, verlassen Sie uns nicht. Was soll denn aus uns werden?
Number 4. Roswell Crash.
Hey, what you got? This was found at the site, but it's locked. Okay, let me see that, please. Thank you.
Doc, what is that?
I don't know yet.
Most people know that the town of Roswell, New Mexico, is associated with numerous conspiracy theories about aliens, but you might not know that the U.S. military is to blame. In the summer of 1947, Americans became obsessed with flying saucers. It started with a pilot who claimed he saw 9 shiny discs flying near Mount Rainier.
We have researched our records extensively, and on that specific date and time, and even that month, we had nothing that could conceivably be within that area. We had been launching some balloons, but nothing in that particular month when the crash at Roswell occurred.
At this time, the U.S. had thousands of secret spy balloons circulating to detect Soviet nuclear tests. When one crashed near Roswell, the military initially announced that it was a flying disc, causing a media frenzy. Then they retracted this statement and said the debris was from a weather balloon. Of course, this led many people to believe the government was hiding evidence of aliens.
There are many theories on what happened on that July morning in 1947, but seeing this wreckage site was an unforgettable moment for visitors.
Number 3. Moon landing.
the greatest achievement in human history, and of the man whose first step echoed around the world, dawning a new age of scientific enlightenment, there is only one full-body picture of him on the moon, besides this ghostly reflection.
The belief that humans have never actually landed on the moon mainly stems from a 1976 book, self-published by former U.S. naval officer Bill Kaysing. It was expanded in 1980 by the Flat Earth Society, which introduced the idea that Hollywood elites, funded by Disney, including director Stanley Kubrick, faked the videos of the moon landings.
Just go to any Apollo site and look, and you'll see that they have to hide the bottom of the screen, and you can always see the set screen separation line in every Apollo footage, every Apollo image, and the video footage that has a background.
The motivations for the supposed hoax vary, from beating the USSR in the space race to distracting the public from the Vietnam War. Considering that more than 400,000 people worked on the Apollo program over the course of 10 years, it would probably be impossible to keep it a secret if the landings actually were staged.
Oh, the marvels of American science. Here we are, millions of miles from Earth. We can still send out for pizza.
Number 2, 9/11.
It's a different kind of detonation. They would not leave detonator cords and devices as they do in traditional, more economical detonations. This is a very different kind of operation.
Did Bush know about the September 11th terrorist attacks before they happened? Was it an inside job? Was the Pentagon actually hit by a missile, not a plane? These are just a few of the many, many conspiracy theories surrounding this massive tragedy.
Was September 11th a surprise attack on America by 19 Islamic terrorists? Or something else entirely?
Some people think the buildings were brought down by controlled demolitions, and the planes were just a cover-up, or there weren't actually any planes involved at all. Others claim that the attacks were real, but they weren't perpetrated by Al-Qaeda, and that the Israeli government or some other country is responsible.
You can live with the stress, or you reform the narrative.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into Settings and switch on your notifications. Number 1. Assassination of John F. Kennedy.
What's wrong, Lou?
Boss, the president's been shot in Dallas 5 minutes ago.
Oh, no.
Maybe the CIA killed JFK. Maybe it was the Mafia, or Cubans, or even the Vice President. Maybe Lee Harvey Oswald was a patsy who took the fall for someone else. Or perhaps he really did shoot the president, but someone put him up to it. There might have been a second gunman on the grassy knoll. George H.W. Bush could have had something to do with it. Or the government of Israel. Or Russia. Heck, maybe even Ted Cruz's dad did it.
He wasn't interested in the bigger picture questions about who was involved. Was it the CIA? Was it the Mafia? Thompson was exclusively focused on how many shots were fired and what did those shots do.
There are so many theories surrounding the assassination of the 35th president, we can't even begin to list them all. Most can easily be debunked, but that doesn't stop people from speculating about it more than 60 years later.
President Kennedy and Governor John Connally have been cut down by assassins' bullets in downtown Dallas. They were riding in an open automobile when the shots were fired. The president, his limp body carried in the arms of his wife Jacqueline, has rushed to Parkland Hospital.
Do you believe any of these conspiracy theories, or are they all ridiculous? Let us know in the comments below.
The president and his wife and party are going to be visible all through Dallas.